Hello, 8th grade team. This is your special education visual content specialist for grade 6 through 8 social studies. Our focus for today will be how we can build comprehension through our use of digital resources and scaffolding in order to support our students' access of rigorous content. This video is aligned to Unit 3 of the 8th grade curriculum in Passport to Social Studies. In this video, we'll be using SDIs such as scaffolds in order to engage and provide access to all learners, uphold student IEP goals aligned to literacy through scaffolding, and support student development of sense-making and meaning building of words and phrases as they are used in a text, including vocabulary specific or related to history and/or social studies. Upon your implementation of these scaffolds, your students will be able to develop comprehension of U.S. policy at the turn of the 20th century through explicit analysis of words and phrases using leveled text. One of the best ways to supplement your students' learning of a topic is to provide students with informative or informational text, especially if that text is leveled to their current reading level or instructional reading level. A cool tool to use in order to level texts is called News-ELA. News-ELA is an instructional content tool that hosts articles available at various reading levels. These articles often feature activities such as vocabulary power words, quizzes, and writing prompts. These activities are often aligned to Common Core standards. So not only can you level texts to be specific to your students' access points, but you can also assess your comprehension of these texts and level up or down upon real-time assessment. News-ELA supports the engagement of students by allowing students to purposefully interact with the text to promote active reading and further their comprehension. It is a tool that supports the refinement of language skills for both SWD and L students. News-ELA reinforces reading skills through the various article-aligned activities. And, regardless of vocabulary or literacy limitations, this resource provides an entry point for any reader. Here we're going to model with day 13-14 of the 8th grade curriculum, Unit 3, titled America Expands Its Power Internationally. The lesson objective for these lessons is to compare and contrast the various foreign policies of the U.S. in Latin America by examining primary source cartoons and text. Being that sometimes these historical events can be a little tricky to understand since they entail so many different dates and events, it is a good idea to use a text, an informative text, to supplement your students' learning. Here in News-ELA, there is a text available titled Empire Building, the United States and the Caribbean, 1877 to 1920. You may choose to work with this text and a small group or have the students work in partners with this text prior to engaging to day 13 and 14 of Unit 3. Here we see News-ELA, and as you can see, you are able to search different topics. They also have available different articles in various subject areas. You can assign readings to your students as well. And here to the upper right-hand corner of the page is where we can level our text. You can also, if you need it, translate text into Spanish. These articles are often presented at the max level of reading, which is the 12th grade level of reading. And often the articles are leveled in 5 different grade levels, ranging from grade 3 all the way to grade 12. One way that I like to further scaffold these readings, because even though they might be at the level of reading of your students, they might need further support in breaking down the text. So one thing that I like to do is take these articles from Newsela and further chunk them in order to provide snippets of information at a slower pace so that students are able to process this information more accurately or more effectively. In addition, I like to use a key ideas strategy that I introduced in a previous video called the GIST strategy. And this strategy entails you breaking down a text into logical stopping points and asking the students to identify what that section was about or who it was about, what was the most important detail or details of that who or what, and then bringing it all together to create the key idea of that section in 10 to 15 words. And as you can see here, this is an example of how you can break down that text and provide those stopping points for students to identify the key ideas of a text. There's also a political cartoon available in the article that you can analyze prior to starting the reading, especially since this skill is part of the lesson objective. So for day 3 and 14, these lessons explore U.S. foreign policy at the turn of the 20th century and the impact of imperialism and expansion on different cultures. This article here helps the students supplement their understanding of these events in a more accessible way. And here we see the GIST strategy that you can use with your articles when you're breaking them down. And you can break them down in any way that you think is logical or is best for your students. So, chunking the text or providing leveled text and using Newsela is very beneficial for small groups and partnered work. You can work using the I do, we do, you do strategy, which is when you model the task and the end result and together, and then you do it on your own and show them how to do it, and then they do it on their own. You can also use the chunking of text and the GIST strategy when working in jigsaws. This scaffold allows time to think and supports students in processing information. Newsela itself and the scaffold together provide students with access to rigorous text at their own entry points. And it promotes active and purposeful reading.